Oh, thank you. We are all the way here. Enjoyment? Yes. Enjoyment.
Enjoyment.
Just as much as you can, as much as you can find. Even if it's just a little bit here, even if it's in what you would call a dreary time or a dreary experience, go
Mm.
somewhere in your mind. You have your devices, your phones, your tablets, your toys. Go there. That's where the enjoyment is. Walk around the block if that's where the enjoyment is, wherever you can find it. And let that be a touchstone for as long as you're enjoying it. Don't make it be the one thing. Don't make it be your purpose that you have to find this one thing and always get joy. Don't make that one relationship the one that you are needing to extract all your joy from. Bring it back to the place where you have your power. And that's your ability to find that enjoyment. It cannot be found for you in the sense there's not a list of things that someone can print off. They cannot consult your astrological chart and give you all of the things that you must do to enjoy yourself. It's a living, breathing thing. It's alive, and you are too. So you follow the energy wherever you can. And as you play that game, it gets stronger, it gets bigger, and all of the stuff that you thought you were supposed to worry about resolves itself. And then, as the solution, as the answer, as the new idea comes to you, you recognize it because of the enjoyment. Not the rightness or the wrongness or the appropriateness or the acceptability or the you name it. That's not why that's your next step. That's not how you know. It's not because someone else is telling you to do it. It's that little spark or that big spark.
Now, it's something that you don't that you can just create it, right? Like you can, it's already there. You just have to create it, like put it there, right?
Create it within your own experience. It does exist. There's always a next step. There's always a new idea. Always. You don't have to rub two sticks together to create that energy, but you do have to create it within your state of being. And that's found and achieved by looking for the enjoyment. So it's both. Yes, it already exists energetically. All of the experiences that you have the new idea, it exists. But for you to create it within your experience, in other words, to see it physically show up for you, you have to create it within your state of being. And that's where we say you have control. That's where your creative control is. That's where your creative ability is. That's where your creative freedom is. It's being able to choose the essence that's going to bring the new idea, that's going to bring the new experience. So that's what you're creating. It's a state of being. And everything flows from that. But you get to play with it. What's your criteria? Are you going to base it on what others have said? Are you going to base it on, in other words, you can choose any essence. It can be hard work. It can be putting your nose to the grindstone. It could be fun and play. It can be relaxation. It can be fun and play and relaxation and interest. You get to choose.
I've been kind of on the other end of that fun and play and, relaxation. spectrum lately with my job, and things are just like, and coming in, fast and furious. And, I'm not getting like overwhelmed, I'm not getting stressed out about it, but I am sort of seeing that it's kind of like nonstop in a way. Just like every day there's something that needs my attention, and it's great to have stuff to do, and it's not unenjoyable, but I am finding myself kind of craving that fun and play and relaxation as a result of all this kind of intense work, this doing all the spreadsheets and the ordering and the purchase orders and the insurance certificates and scheduling. It's just been a lot of detail. So um, and I realized that one of my things is I don't get up and walk away. Like my I feel like, oh, if I just plow through this and get it done, then I'll be done with it, right?
And you wonder why it keeps coming.
Well, yeah, that's what I don't understand really well, is because, but I keep saying, and then it's going to be done, and then it isn't. Then more comes. So
So in that moment, there is an opportunity for something really easy and fun to flow in and to make it all a lot better. But you don't give yourself that opportunity. You don't receive the opportunity because you're going to push through it just a little bit more. And instead of pushing, relax. And that's when it all gets easy. And that's when it becomes fun. You felt that when you're in the flow and it's just one after the next, and
yeah,
we knock it all down. That's
yeah,
the moment. That moment you're speaking of is where you either let it happen or not, where you make it about the action and the work, and I'll just push through a little bit further.
mm-hmm.
Or I'm going to step back, and whether it's staying where I am and taking a breath or going for a walk, I'm going to just take a moment and receive. And that's when things shift and they become easier.
Mm.
And it becomes easier for you in that moment and every other moment moving forward. So see it as an opportunity that keeps showing itself to you. It's not that you've missed it in the past or that you have to catch it, or else it'll always keep showing itself to you over and over and over and over and over until you make that decision. So it's just a refinement process.
Yeah, yeah. So as you were speaking, I recognize that that sense of I'll plow through it because there's going to be, something else that I'm going to have to deal with, is actually kind of reinforcing that pattern, is reinforcing, yeah, that
And
belief.
in the moment, we know it's easy to get lost or caught up in the reality of things, but just step back and make it again about that flow of the energy or not.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a universal process and it's going to apply itself to everything that you're approaching.
yeah.
When you let yourself have fun with the things that aren't supposed to be fun,
Mm-hmm.
it all gets easier, and you can see how this magic works in every aspect of your life, even if it's doing the taxes, even if it's doing a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I have experienced that. I think that I got a little bit lost in all that work. Um, and I recognize too the affinity I have for that sense of that value proposition, and I completed all this immense work. I did it all, there's some attachment in a way to that identification. And it's great that I could do it all. I truly am proud of myself that I could, but it isn't like
Hmm.
it isn't the thing that you know I want driving me. You know what I mean? It's not the thing that I want to like. That's why I want to do it. No, I want to enjoy what I do. So that's a really good point. And along those lines, I had another thought. In our experience of living in life, are we sort of, here to kind of explore ourselves as this human being in all various um, situations, experiences, like emotions, or are we here to just kind of find that flow and know ourselves as that divine being in this experience?
Yes, all of that.
All of that.
Because the divine being is creative, and creativity is exploring the possibilities.
Okay, so maybe it's the perspective of the divine being, that inner energy exploring everything in this life.
Yes. And then finding the essence that is preferred and letting the universal mechanism bring it to your experience.
And finding the essence that's preferred and letting the universal mechanism bring them to my experience.
Enjoyment. That's all it is.
Okay.
But not grind through it and then find the enjoyment. Enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Easier said than done many times, but just be aware of the energy moving through it. Are you hitting up against a brick wall? Pushing into that, it's going to push back. And that's why you get tired.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Hmm. To change my perspective on that, to shift the reality on that, is through allowing the this this is through allowing this balance, through stepping back, through um, connecting with more of the joyful, joyous essence of experience, rather than the um, tight kind of have to do this.
Yes. You let that go. The energy flows in, it flows through your mind. You have all of the infinite possibilities available to you. And from that, some are magnetized and match that enjoyment of that inner energy. And as they light up, they get stronger and brighter. And then you follow them.
Mm-hmm.
And then that leads to the next and leads to the next and leads to the next.
Would you say that it's not really necessary to plan?
You can place the intention being the framework, which is going to be filled in. But that's part of this process too, because the intention, you can feel if there's a pushback if you're trying to be too specific.
Controlling that.
So you place the intention. I'd like to find some enjoyment. I'm going to find some enjoyment.
Mm-hmm. 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 So that's about the limit of planning, though.
You can get specific. You can, because as you place the intention to enjoy things, then the new ideas are drawn to, and then you can say, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. And you've made that a plan. And as you move forward, you feel the energy calling you forward. It gets stronger and you walk into that full experience. Maybe it's a restaurant that you feel called to go to, and you say, oh, I love that dish. I really want to go there. I'm going to go there. And it's that simple. And then you move toward, in other words, it doesn't have to be goal setting and writing things down and checking and rechecking,
Yeah.
but you're going to the restaurant because that enticed you, it called you forward, and then you're there. And now you're walking in and you say, I want to find enjoyment. I want to find things to enjoy. And then you're looking into the environment and you see the chef and they're having fun, and you're looking at the menu and different options are lighting up for you. And you say, that's the one, it's lighting up for me. And then it's like that.
Yeah.
So you're making plans, you're placing intentions, but it's not to create a framework that must be maintained at all cost.
Yeah.
But it's to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. It's a good distinction. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
then you have the dish delivered to you that lit up for you and you're enjoying it. And while you're enjoying it, you're having conversation and someone says something to you. Wouldn't it be wonderful to go to this place? And you say, yes, I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see the process continues by following that enjoyment, by following your bliss. It's always going to lead you to the next idea and the next idea and the next idea. They're not just ideas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These ideas are potent. They're enriched with energy. They're magnetic and they're attractive and they draw reality to you. So as you're following that bliss, there's more that's drawn to you.
And they're potent and enriched with energy. So that's like potential.
It is actual as you allow it to be your experience.
Okay. 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 It's actual. Yeah. Okay.
There's always the potential, but when that idea for that restaurant lights up within you, that's real. And you
That's
know
real.
it's real because there's that actuality of resonance. That's how you know it's not just a pipe dream or some sort of wistful idea, but it has potency. And it's not someone else's idea of what you should be doing. It's not someone else's idea of what should be enjoyable for you. There's that potency that you feel, that you register, that you resonate with.
Mm-hmm.
It's reality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's reality because, again, it's real, it's energy. And as you dwell with it and enjoy it and milk it and talk about it, then it becomes more real. But the reality is the experience.
Mm-hmm.
It takes on flesh and blood and bone as you let it build.
Yeah. Sometimes things you just sort of like, you just know and you feel it and like, you just know. And then other things, like you said, they build, they kind of like this is a desire that I have and this is what it feels like and it would be so nice and I can see myself doing it. And it's not like something that you know for certain right away. It's almost something that feels like you're crafting.
It's the creative process. Sometimes you have a work of art that you say it's ready to be put on display, and other times you just have a few brush strokes down. Both are part of the creative process. One is not more masterful than the other. They're all just different expressions. So it's momentum, it's detail, it's personal experience that adds the refinement to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
But if you make it about the process, the enjoyment of the process, then
Mm-hmm.
you can be a novice, what you would call a novice at something, and still enjoy it and get as much from it as you would something with which you are expert.
Mm-hmm. I think that applies to perhaps situations where it might not instantly feel like it's something that I want, but when I accept and decide that it's going to be, that there's joy in it, that there's value, that there's, opportunity in it to experience, then it sort of presents itself more that way than it would in the way where it was undesirable.
When you're lighter about it, that gives you the mobility of consciousness to then shift. If again you see it as a creative process, you put a few brush strokes down and you say, no, this isn't right. And you place that canvas aside and you bring another one to you. It's just like that. You don't force yourself to paint all the way through it, knowing that you already don't like the creation that's coming from it. You can just let it go.
Yeah, you can just let it go. Yeah. It is all about the perception of the experience, though, or the perception and the desire, the intention. Like those things work together to create the experience, right?
They do, but you're letting yourself off the hook. That's the perception that you're reaching for. It's not finding the correct perception or the most productive or the most creative or the most aligned with your purpose, but it's letting yourself just enjoy the process, to dabble here, to dabble there, to try this, to try that, test it, move forward, take a step back. It becomes like a dance through this process. But if you're rigid with yourself, then you don't allow yourself to have the enjoyment that would bring the next step to you anyway.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question. Now, doesn't this have to do a lot with your emotions and the moment, like, the emotional scale, like what emotions you're feeling in the moment?
It does. That's the dance. If you're letting yourself just enjoy the process, then you can have a moment of anger or frustration, but rather than carrying it for days or weeks or years, it comes up and just moves through you. And you say, I'm just a creative being. This is part of the process. I felt that. I recognize that. I don't want to perpetuate that. I don't want to create it. So let's just let it go and move on. And that's an emotional state, isn't it? It's a state of being in acceptance of where you are. It's a state of being in allowing your state. That's the creative inner position that lets you be mobile and flexible and turn on a dime and have new ideas and to play with this as a creative process rather than something that has been assigned to you that you need to do or something that you have to get right or something that you don't want to get wrong. Instead, you just let yourself feel it out. I liked going on that date. It was nice. I don't really feel like going on another. That's okay. Or we had a couple good experiences together and I enjoyed it. And I think I'd like to do some more. And then you're in the position and the experience, and you say, I like all of these things about this person, and this not so much. And you say, okay. And you just enjoy the process. It's not that you're going on a date, for instance, or having that experience to find the perfect person and no one else you don't have time for anyone else, because that rigid approach doesn't give you the flexibility. In other words, think about the manifestation, think about the end result that you're wanting to experience. When you're in that state of being, you're flexible, you go with the flow. Nothing's, as you say, too serious. Nothing's a big deal. You're just enjoying yourself. So that's the state of being that you need to achieve right here, right now. And that means being all right with things that are not as perfect as you think that they should be.
Yeah.
And so that's the emotional state.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you get to be as creative with it as you like. If you for whatever reason want to have a life where you're working hard and everyone sees that and they're applauding you and you're not enjoying yourself but you have a chip on your shoulder, create that. Do that now. It is up to you. But we are just saying the enjoyment is, it puts everything into perfect order for you.
Yeah.
And if you can enjoy the imperfection, the not completeness of it, that's the real key. You call it unconditional love. You can call it unconditional fun. Doesn't matter what you call it. Unconditional enjoyment. When you're able to achieve that, in other words, it's a gloomy day and everyone's angry, but at least you can listen to music and find some enjoyment there. That's where your freedom is.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you said something, um, even though it's a gloomy day and you can, listen to music, what about like reading the signs of that gloomy day as a reflection of where you're emotionally perhaps um where perhaps you're believing something. So I'll I had again a somebody or something happen where my credit card was stolen online and $1,500 was taken out of my bank account. And I was like, what the heck? And this is like the third or second or third time this has happened. And I'm like, all right, I'll call the bank and deal with it, which I did. But it kind of was like, what is this telling me about me? What is this telling me about? Or is it just not telling me anything and I just need to solve it and move on? It's
Well,
like,
how does it feel?
it makes me angry, pisses me off.
So there's your answer. Now it's time to let it go.
Let let the whole idea of people like just fraud go. Let the whole idea of I don't know. I mean, I can move on because the bank is going to take care of it. I know they are. They didn't the last time, and so they're going to take care of it. It'll be fine. Be absolutely fine. But I'm like, why does this keep happening?
How does it make you feel?
Pisses me off.
Well, that's why.
But how can you not get angry about that
As
stuff?
any, and we're not saying to not get angry. We're just saying to recognize that that's the state of being. There must be some other thing in your life that's pissing you off.
Oh, some other thing. Some other thing that's pissing me off.
But you don't even have to dig
Figure
into
that
it.
out. Right, right.
So the question is, why did it come to me? The answer is, how did it make you feel? And the answer was angry. So that's your answer. It came to you because of anger.
Okay. Okay. So really in the moment what the thing is to deal with is the emotion that came up as a result of it.
Deal with it. Yes. In other words, it
Well,
is allowed to, the storm cloud will pass. You don't have to get all into the business of it. But dealing, in other words, you recognized it. All right. So now what? Focusing on it, trying to figure it out, trying to look for the common thread, you start to feel some of that anger come back. It starts to bubble up within you.
right,
So that's one path.
right.
The other path is to turn the other cheek,
Yeah,
but not paying lip service to it.
right.
Just feeling a little this way, a little that way, a little this way. I feel that anger coming up. That's not what I want. That's not my path.
No.
So then you look for the enjoyment in something else.
Okay. I can do that. Absolutely.
But isn't that hard to literally shift? Well, like I'm putting myself in her position. I mean, that has happened to me before. So you get angry, you feel violated. I mean, I feel violated. Raw, you feel this sense of anger. But so you're saying just to forget about it, like shift it. But isn't that hard to just when you feel violated?
Isn't it hard? It can be. It can be. But it's the only thing that's going to make a difference.
Because the choice is to stay in that anger and continue to feel that, upsetness, being upset, or move away from it with maybe an openness to feeling, a little bit better.
So you can let yourself feel the anger in this case. You can pretend that you don't feel it and sort of numb yourself out from that full experience, and you can let it go. So go for it. Enjoy, feel the anger. And when we say feel it, let yourself indulge in it. You want to be angry, be angry. However far you want to go with that. But then there is the necessity to set it aside, to experience something else. Now, out of anger, letting it go, finding enjoyment, and numbing oneself to the anger, it is the denial of the emotion
Yeah.
that we do not want to encourage.
Right.
So, can it be difficult? It can. So let's talk about it. How do you do it? You feel the anger. It's strong, it's powerful. If you fight against it, if you resist that anger, that's when you're stuck. But when you let yourself fully feel it, that's what we're talking about with that flexibility of consciousness. Letting yourself fully feel it, it will come to its own resolution. It will flow through you.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
So,
good.
are we saying make yourself really, really mad? No. Just be. Anger will come up. You'll feel it fully. It'll burn for a moment, and then you can let it go. It's only in these artificial divisions within yourself that you don't allow yourself to fully feel the emotion, which would then allow it to move into its own resolution. So, telling yourself that you shouldn't feel that way, even telling yourself that it's too hard to move out of that anger, can keep you there.
Well, even being unaware that the anger that I was feeling, and I recognize it now completely, that I've been very angry at the computer. That sounds stupid, but I have been really angry at the computer.
You have a relationship with the computer.
I do. It's so silly. But yeah, I've been really angry because the keyboard isn't moving as fast as I want it to move, and the mouse is slow, and the internet is slow, and I feel like everything's slow. And I've been really angry at the computer, and it's just very interesting then that this whole thing like happened through the computer. This whole like banking thing happened through the computer.
It's interesting, but you see the thread.
Now I see the thread. Now I do. Yeah.
It's the essence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So by the time this stuff happens, it's already so far down the road that it doesn't really do much good to kind of retrace your steps and to map out every thought so you could fix it. Because in the same way we said that your work is providing the opportunity to make a choice, and that opportunity is always being presented to you, the same is true with this opportunity. And you have that choice right now in terms of how you're going to relate to it. And if you don't resolve it, that's okay. It'll show back up.
It'll come back. Yeah. Yeah. No, I clearly see how it can be resolved at this point. I do. And I feel like that is the next step for me. It's to move through this with a different, I don't know, different
So it doesn't
perspective.
matter if it's your computer or your husband or your neighbor, there's still that energetic relationship, and you can feel it with anger or interest or playfulness or all those different things. So, what is it all about? Is it getting to the computer and fixing it so you can change the relationship?
No, I don't
It's
think
about
so.
finding your balance. It's about stepping
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Instead of smashing your hand on the computer, it's the gentle touch. It's taking a step back.
Yeah.
And as you practice that, you're now redefining your relationship with the computer, with technology.
Yes. Yes.
And each time you make that choice, it gets a little stronger, it becomes more of a habit, it becomes more of a proclivity, it becomes more momentum. There is more momentum. And that's how you shift. We know it can be hard, we know it can be challenging. But when you accept that and then let that thought go, then it is only a matter of choice in terms of which direction you're going to go. And there are all sorts of reasons. In other words, I'm right. After all, I am right. I was right. I'm still right. Feel that.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, no, I feel sorry for the woman on the other end of the banking call that I had. It was like, why don't you guys do something about this? So yeah, because I'm right. So yeah, yeah, thank you.
So just feel the heat as it comes on and recognize there may be another choice. And when you feel it, when you make the intention, place the intention to find a little bit of enjoyment and you find it and you choose it, now it opens up. Now
Mm,
there are more choices available to you. And when you see those and you focus there and you place that intention and you choose it, it gets stronger and stronger until you've tipped the scales.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can do it with any subject, with every subject. You can do it with money, where you're at the cash register and you take out your card and you feel tension or sick to your stomach before you swipe it. We say that's one option. There's another. You're developing, refining, deciding your relationship with money in that moment.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Maybe you could get something that's cheaper. Does it give you a feeling of relief? Does it feel a little better? Good.
Right.
Maybe you could say, I don't need this today. Or maybe you could say, I'm just being silly. It's no big deal. I can make this work, no problem. Whatever it takes for you to find that feeling of relief, a little bit more of an enjoyment there is practicing, practicing, practicing until you go to the register and you swipe your card and you say, this is fun. I love what I bought. We say you've changed your relationship with money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right. It's not about the thing changing, it's about the inner um, feeling.
Whatever it takes. It's not about exactly. It is not about the thing or the experience or any of those,
Mm-hmm.
but it all falls into place.
Yeah. But it all falls into place. Yeah. Yeah. That's good, Joseph. That's really helpful.
Practice
Yeah.
the decision.
I get so many opportunities to practice.
You do.
Oh.
Because as you have this understanding and that strong intention, the energy is moving quickly. And as it's moving quickly, there's another opportunity. There's another opportunity. There's another opportunity. There's another opportunity.
Oh.
So as you keep choosing the way of enjoyment, the
Yeah.
opportunities keep coming, but you're loving them. They get better and better and better and better and better. And now things are moving quickly instead of it needing to be step by step. Let me ruminate on this for a couple days. Let me think about this for a little bit. Let me weigh the positive. Oh, and there's a chat room, and let me get onto the internet. And we say just feel it out.
Yeah.
Make it a habit.
Yeah. And gratitude or appreciation is a way, like you've always said, notice when that shift is kind of happening. You're having that enjoyable feeling, like recognize that, appreciate that, right?
Adds more fuel to that fire.
Adds more fuel. Yeah.
You have the opportunity come and you consciously recognize the options and you choose enjoyment, and then you notice that things have resolved themselves, it seems almost magically, and in that moment we want you to appreciate it, to enjoy it fully, and to say, this process really works, this is really amazing, because now you have more of those juices flowing. Well, guess what? As the energy is moving faster, the opportunities are still going to be drawn to you faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. But when you take the time at the early part of your day through meditation, through having that focus, then you can feel this way or that way, this way or that way. When you're in meditation, all the good stuff is flowing to you, it's flowing to you, it's flowing to you. So now you have, as you come out of meditation, you have 10 new ideas, any of which you can follow and have a really good time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very empowering. It feels like, getting in touch with the core essence, with the authentic self in a
It
powerful
is.
way.
And through those decisions, that authentic self now finds physical expression. So it's all of the above. It's all of that.
Mm. Okay. Actually comes back to that first question. So yeah.
It does.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Enjoyment.
I'm ready for some enjoyment. Yeah. Thank you.
Very much.
I don't have any other questions today.
Thank you.
Very much. Anything else here? Any other ways we can convince you to have a little bit more fun, to enjoy yourselves a little bit more?
Just be it. Put it there.
And so it is.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take a trip next week, and kind of the first COVID-free trip, to visit some friends and family back east. And my intention is for it to be enjoyable. But I don't have any expectations that things are going to go one way or the other. I'm just anticipating that it's going to be enjoyable, period. Like, it doesn't have to look a certain way, or, things don't have to happen a certain way. I've got 2 things that I plan to do, and that's it.
That's unconditional. So that's the essence. Enjoyment. And as you let that essence grow, the experiences will all be drawn to you. The circumstances will all be drawn to you. But those aren't the key. Those are the results.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Because the process is enjoyable. Every step
The process
along
is enjoyment. And
is
enjoyment is the process.
Oh, process is enjoyment, and enjoyment is the process. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Very
And
much.
so it is. Thank you, Joseph.
Well, we've enjoyed this conversation as well.
Good.
We are complete. Hey.
Ella.
Sometimes I feel like they're just kind of like, we're rolling along. We're just rolling along here.
Yeah.
Right? It's so good. It's so good. Thank you.
Yeah. I enjoyed it too.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Good.
It was a really good conversation. So thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Good seeing you all again.
Yeah, good seeing you too.
See you too.
Talk soon.
All right, Miss last week.
We'll wait to hear from you about next week, Aaron.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.
You
too.
Have fun.